Even though they see our other cars parking, so one car will block the sidewalk and that whole side of the parking lot. One day somebody has done that, and two other cars came in and parked up beside it, blocked the whole parking lot, and no one could get out that was already parked in the parking lot. Because of the line real estate, you can't quite see it. And they always park right in the big handicap no parking spot to begin with. Yeah, they have a handicap already. Yeah. Angela Davis. Yeah. At least we have.
I think our key question for tonight is, are we having fun?
Yeah.
One of those exciting meetings I could do. Now, we missed out. If you try to go through those other tables, you get patted down in your backpack. So if anyone that wants to get patted down. Well, I have a feeling you're going to, because I did come in. So let's see how this goes. I just pulled in. The whole spot was open. Like, yeah. Hey, yeah, somebody could park in front of me. I'm not going anywhere from the end. Yeah, I could buy it.
Alrighty, we'll get going in just a few minutes here. Our president gets back from being indisposed. No, but it was on and sitting there. Yeah, you pull down farther. On my screen, I keep getting, yeah, now I don't get the projection screen on my computer. But then I can't quite use it. Well, I guess we could start with, let me start the recording. While we're waiting for everything else to get started, anyone have any questions that we can answer? Do some Q&A. So what are we? Wednesday, November 9th, 2016, Apple Cider General Q&A meeting. We have a celebrity, I guess, in town tonight. So we have some competition for the meeting space. Did I see a hand start going up for question? Yeah. So he's got a computer with 2 USB and 2 Thunderbolt, and needs more USB ports. You can get a USB hub. They usually come in, like 4 port, 8 port, 10 port. So they plug into the 1 USB port on your computer and give you 10 more, kind of like a power strip, gives you more outlets. There are a couple of different styles of USB hub. They will have, let me just go to our Amazon link here. There'll be powered hubs and unpowered hubs. So a powered hub will have an AC cord. With a unpowered hub, which is usually a little cheaper, you have to plug in powered devices that have their own power cord, like a printer or a hard drive that has its own power cord, because the USB doesn't give it enough power. If you get a USB hub with a power cord, then you can plug pretty much anything in, because the power cord will put enough power into the USB to be able to run devices.
I always recommend that you use a powered hub.
Yeah, even if you don't need to, it's just better to have power, so you don't draw too much power.
Otherwise, you can get into USB strangeness when you connect too many peripherals.
Anchor is a very good brand of USB hub. Surprised I don't find it here right off. They make, is it AHNKOR? I think no, H. Anchor hub. Yes, I meant Anchor hub. No, where is it? There it is, Anchor. And they make really good hubs. The other thing we're starting to see, a lot of USB hubs will have a charging port that will have higher wattage. So it's got one 12-volt, 3-amp port. So you can charge your iPad, and you can charge your 12-inch MacBook that has USB charging, or the new MacBooks that are USB charging as well. So you have that extra wattage to charge with just USB, and they're not that bad and not that expensive, and available in different colors, different styles. A lot of laptop people will like a smaller one that's slimmer, so that it will easily carry in your laptop bag, rather than being like a docking port on your desk. Yeah. Here's a 10-port one with 60 watts. 10. I think I saw a 15-port one once. Just if you really need a lot of ports. This one's got 13 ports. So now, I think it was Macworld Labs did a test. USB is technically capable of 127 devices. And Thunderbolt, I think, is 6 devices per port. So they took the Mac Pro that had 6 Thunderbolt and 4 USB ports, and they plugged like 40 devices into it. And I'm going to see if I can find it. And the picture was really amazing. Let's see, Mac Pro USB connections, and it would look like a giant spider. There it is, of everything he's got connected to this computer. And a couple of monitors at the end. The Apple monitor usually has to be the last device, because it tends to draw the most power. So there's the Mac Pro right there in the middle. And so he's got all these different Thunderbolt and USB devices plugged in. So if you really want to, you can plug a crap load of things into your computer. Yeah, they're all plugged into one port, like the giant power octopus in your house. So yeah, so the Mac Pro's got 6 Thunderbolt and 4 USB, so you got 10 expansion ports. So theoretically, you could put 1,000 devices on it. And then you like that scene in Vacation when not Vacation, yeah, Christmas Vacation, when they turn on the Christmas lights and the power station dials start going around and around, and airplanes driving by, go ah, because there's so many lights on the house, you're drawing so much power. Alrighty, you want to start the spiel, Charlie? Everybody's here. Do we have any visitors? Yeah. I think. Well, this is the city. You just make your own place to park. Except there was a cop out there for a while. And then Frank, did you say he moved and you could park? Yeah. So one person will start parking wrong and then everyone will follow suit. So it's not just you anymore. Yep. Yeah, they didn't block the turnaround. Yeah. I started getting suspicious when I turned the corner at Culver and Atlantic, and there were cars parked on the street. Now, yeah, Lyle's note said 800 people, but okay. Yeah.
Last night. You should have had an email from me. No, it was
It's hiding. Well, I just was starting with questions while we were waiting for more people to show up. Okay. All right, so we take another question? Burning questions? Everyone has your questions answered? I'm sure we'll generate more questions later. No, connect to CIDER. So yeah, for those of you that want to join our Wi-Fi, there are a lot of Wi-Fi networks. Connect to the one called Virus and see what happens. But you want to connect to CIDER, and that will get you onto the open Wi-Fi, so you don't need any of the city school district passwords and stuff. Gmail, can't find the trash. There is not one. Google, well, Google basically, even, no, I got to get to a different account. Even when you delete a message, it doesn't really delete it. It archives it so you can get back to it again. There's a folder called All Mail that is all of your mail, sent, received, deleted, and you can always go back into that All Mail. Google gives you 15 gigabytes of disk space, which is a whole bunch of mail. So they never really delete anything, just in case you want it back. So on the left is your list of mailboxes, and there's often a More button, and the More button will let you see even more mailboxes, and there'll be one of them labeled trash, and that should be the mail that you marked for trash at the bottom of that list. Yeah, on iOS. So are you in the web browser or the Gmail app? Okay. Yes. There should also be another one labeled trash, or maybe deleted messages. iOS keeps changing its name. I'm trying to get my iPad up and running here. And we'll log into Gmail. And come on. Yeah, I was typing over here and then added it to your account. Yep, it should be in there. Yeah, sometimes you nick the trash button instead of the move to a different folder button. All right, and I can't get my air server running. Yes. There is a option. Where is it? It's the little arrow. Yeah, the trash automatically empties itself when messages are more than 3 days old. Who needs to delete when you have so much storage? Is Google's mantra there. Yeah, somewhere there is also an empty trash now button, but I haven't found it yet. Yeah. So yeah, when it says spam will be automatically deleted, does that mean it's deleted permanently or it's moved to trash? I don't know offhand. I would suspect it means deleted and not moved to trash. Otherwise, it probably would have said moved to trash. Yeah. Let me find a message I can delete. My Google activity from 2014. So there's a little trash can icon that's marked to delete. If I hit that, it moved it to the trash, and then it will be deleted within 30 days. So trashed and deleted are two different things. And let's see, there's a learn more, which will probably take me into the Google settings. Nope, takes me into help. You can delete a single message. You can delete, there we go, empty your trash. Open the message and click delete forever. So if you go into the trash, you can open the message and click delete forever to delete a single message. Or when you're in the trash, there's an empty trash now button. So let me go to the trash now that there's something in the trash. And yes, I have an empty trash now link. So that will delete everything that's in the trash now. But they have their auto delete within 30 days, so it's not something you have to manually manage yourself. Yeah. Right. You always want to check your spam folder every now and then to make sure something good hasn't accidentally made it in. Yep. All right, another question? Mm-hmm. After you delete the mail and empty the trash, there's no easy way to get it back. Are you in the mail app or are you on a mail website? Right, it goes to the trash. Yep. Yeah, there's a check box. So all of these that say Google account activity, I can check them all and then hit delete and all of the checked ones will go. If I hit the check at the top, it will check all of the all and they can delete. So they will go into the trash. So if you go into the More button on the left and into the trash, they will be there for 30 days. After 30 days, they won't be in the trash anymore. But you can go to your All Mail, and All Mail is all your mail. So I have 179 messages. So All Mail is trash, inbox, sent mail, everything that you have in Google is All Mail. One of the problems that can come up is if you are using Google in an app, in the Mail app, then that All Mail shows up in your Mail app. And it can overwhelm the Mail app by having tens of thousands of messages in it. So one of the things that we typically see is turn off All Mail for iMac access, so it doesn't show up in your mail program. So it doesn't have to download all that mail twice. So basically, something downloads to your inbox and it's in your All Mail. So everything, in essence, downloads twice and can eat up more disk space on your computer. So if you want to turn off that iMac access, you'd log into Gmail directly, and you would go to the Settings button from the Gear menu, and there's one for iMac. As soon as we open up here, loading, forwarding Pop and iMac. And I want labels. No, I'm sorry, I screwed that up. Labels. We start with labels. Now, every other mail program calls these folders over here. They'll call them folders. They'll call them mailboxes. Google calls them labels because it's a label for your mail, I guess. So you can go down to your All Mail and tell that to hide in iMac, so that when you're looking at your mail offline on a mail program, it doesn't show that All Mail, and then it doesn't fill up your hard drive. I've seen customers that have had 30, 40, 50,000 messages because they've had their mail program a really long time, and everything is still in All Mail. And then we had a customer a couple of weeks ago that there were 3 unread messages that weren't unread. They were actually read, and she was so mad that the 3 was there. And how do I get rid of that 3? And the person sitting next to her in the office says, well, mine says 850, and I don't care. But we got rid of the 3 unread for her, so it didn't show as a 3. All righty, another question? Yes. Mm-hmm. So, question about junk mail, is there a way to make mail always go to junk? If you have a message and use the junk button, it's supposed to learn what junk is, and over time you won't see much mail by that. Most of the spammers will change the content of the message enough so that it doesn't get caught by the junk mail filter. They'll add some random lines in the body of the message, or they'll put something in the subject line, so that isn't the same message again. And so the junk mail filters can't handle that. They get tricked. If it's not a very smart spammer, so here is a fake message I got from someone claiming to have a fax message for me. So they emailed me a fax message. So apparently they couldn't find my fax number. Most mail programs, and what are you spinning for? If you go into mail preferences, there it is. So the fax is to download this link and get infected by that, whatever that virus is. Who knows what country code 44 is offhand? So that's where it came from. So if you go into the mail menu and preferences, there is a setting called rules. And these are rules that you can create for mail coming into your inbox. One of the rules that I have is any messages coming from the CIDER board turn green, and any mail coming from Apple turns blue. You can make a new rule for junk. So if I hit this add rule, there are different criteria here. So from contains this address. So this is where that specific message came from. And I can tell it to move that message into the deleted folder, right into the trash on my Mac. So if I ever get another message from that account, it will automatically go to trash. Most of the time, you don't get another message from that account. It will be a slightly different name. So that's the whole problem with junk mail filtering is the junk mailers will use fuzzy names because computers have to be literal. And so if they change it to be administrator, ER, then it won't catch it. Whereas, you, the person looking at it, would say, oh, that's obviously the same thing. So you can try making rules for those known junk places and see if that works. And mark them as junk, and it will learn better what junk is. If you have legitimate commercial advertising, good junk, for lack of a better word, there is typically unsubscribe instructions in that junk mail to let you unsubscribe. It has to be a legitimate company for this to work. Most of the bad guys, in fact, let me go back to this administrator, see if they have one too. Most of the bad guys will also put an unsubscribe button in their message, which basically means you read the message, you clicked on the link, and so let's send you a whole bunch more mail. So never click unsubscribe on junk mail unless it's a legitimate commercial company, because they follow the rules. If the law says if you click unsubscribe, they have to unsubscribe you. The bad guys are already bad guys. They don't care, and they'll break the rules anyway. Yeah. 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 Right. So for you, that's obviously the same junk mail, but to a computer and a rule, they're all different. And so you need a different rule for each one. I must have deleted it. I had a couple of really good fake messages come in recently that the bad guy went to the trouble to get the logo from the company they were trying to impersonate. And it can be very tricky to tell what's junk mail and what's not these days. It's like the bad guys have screwed everything up for us. I thought that sounded familiar. I've been getting a lot of email from Malaysia. Apparently I paid too much taxes in Malaysia last year, and they have a big refund check for me. I didn't realize I paid too much taxes. And that usually goes along with the Italian lottery that I won. And since it's the virtually no cost to send out 1 million junk messages or more, if one person gets tricked by it, the bad guys have made their money. And usually it's a lot more than one will get tricked by it. All right, another question? Alrighty, shall we move into what's next? I don't think we had a specific agenda. Todd, Bob, who wants to go first? Oh, Apple News. We forgot about Apple News. Yes, thank you, Rick. Was there Apple News this month? Yes, there was. We finally got new MacBooks. They were not the MacBooks we wanted, but apparently they're the MacBooks Apple wants us to have. There hasn't been a major redesign in the MacBook line since 12, when they went to the Retina models, the thin and Retina. The new MacBook Pro, I gotta remember how they call it, MacBook Pro 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, and MacBook Pro 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports. Their code names are getting longer and longer. They are thinner yet than the existing MacBooks. The Retina screen is a new technology called P3, so it's a wide color gamut and more vivid in the color space. And 3 of the models have an OLED touch bar. So the top row of characters on the keyboard where your F keys usually are, is now a screen, actually a touch screen. And so programs can write their code to customize that screen. And they were showing some examples of, say, like Final Cut, where you have your audio in that screen, and you can scrub through your audio bar while you're working video on the main screen. They had a chat app, which was putting emojis in that screen. They brought out what was interesting is the F keys were actually a holdover from the old mainframe days in the IBM 3270 terminal. And not many people are using 3270 terminals anymore. So very few people actually need the F keys. For the last several generations, Apple has been using the F keys for functions like brightness and audio and iTunes controls. And if you still want to have an actual F key, you can do that as well on the new touch bar. Let's actually watch the little film, which is only a couple of minutes long anyway.
The new MacBook Pro combines the fundamental qualities of an ultra-portable device with uncompromising performance. With our new design, the product's overall volume has been reduced dramatically. This results in an extremely purposeful and powerful creative tool. It has the best Retina display we've ever put in a notebook. A precisely designed LED spectrum projects through a metal oxide backplane. This yields a remarkably bright, high-contrast picture with a wider color gamut. The larger Force Touch trackpad now provides an expansive area for a whole range of gestures. We've continued to refine our keyboard design to be more accurate and efficient. Dome switches beneath each key have been optimized for a more responsive feel. We're introducing a new way to interact with your notebook. A multi-touch bar provides a more intuitive, more immediate connection to your content. Commands that were once hidden are now visible, easily accessible, and also customizable. In each application, the most relevant controls are displayed dynamically, allowing you to work with greater efficiency. This is also the first Mac with Touch ID. This seamless integration of hardware and software is truly unique to Apple. The speakers have also been completely redesigned to maximize air displacement and project high-fidelity, room-filling sound. At its core, pro-level processors integrated with high-speed system memory and storage technologies make everything you do faster and more responsive. In a notebook this powerful, thermal management is critical. Thinner, variably spaced fan blades propel air quietly through a nearly solid structure. The new MacBook Pro achieves a design that optimizes both performance and portability. It marks a milestone in the evolution of the Mac.
Ooh. It uses the next generation Skylake processor. So it's faster and more efficient, even though the clock speed is lower. So that's one of the confusions that has already arisen. The clock speed is lower than the previous model. There are 3 models available, one of them without the touch bar and 2 models with the touch bar in both 13-inch and 15-inch. And you may notice that the prices are higher than the previous generation. So Apple broke their pattern of they've come out with new machines at a higher price instead of at a lower price. And partly because of that, the previous generation models are still available. The other major difference is the new models come with the new USB-C ports, like the 12-inch MacBook has, but they have 4 of them. Excuse me, 4 of them on the touch bar model. Oops, I wanted this page. Where's the picture? There it is. So you have 4 USB-C connectors, which is also the same connector as Thunderbolt 3. So we get the new Thunderbolt 3 super whiz-bang speed and the USB-C connectivity that the 12-inch MacBook has had. 4 ports on the touch bar model and 2 ports on the non-touch bar model. It does mean that you may now have to get dongles if you want to plug any wired connections in. The older USB-As, if you want to plug into a wired monitor or projector, you need a different adapter. Apple did drop the price of the adapters significantly as well. The VGA and HDMI adapters used to be $80, now they're $50. In general, Apple is basically expecting everyone to be wireless. Wireless printers, wireless internet, wireless video. You should have an Apple TV connected to your television and you can stream your video wirelessly. So we're at least grateful they added more than 1 connector. That was a big limitation on the 12-inch. Does anyone have a 12-inch MacBook? No, that was one of the big limitations, is only 1 connector, so pretty much everything is wireless on it. And the 15-inch model, we just had a customer buy one. 15-inch model, if you max it out, is $4,500 for a laptop, a power laptop. And so it starts at $2,799 with 512 storage. Most of that expanded storage is, most of that price is expanded storage. The 13-inch comes with dual core processors, the 15-inch with quad core, like the current models. You can now get it with a 2 terabyte solid state drive, $1,200 additional. So if you need a lot of internal storage, take that $1,200 and buy 2 computers and 1 big hard drive between them. But for mobile video editors, photo editors, where you want that kind of power, and you have customers you can bill it back to, that works out really good. And as I mentioned, the previous generation model is still available. So if you still need all the old style ports, the USB-A ports and the HDMI port, you still can get the previous generation model as well. The new models come in space gray and the traditional silver. They don't have the gold option that the 12-inch has. So that's a difference between them. So that was the new MacBooks. There was no talk about new iMacs or new Mac Pros. And at this point in the year, we probably won't see anything new, anything more new through the rest of this year. Yeah, no Mac Mini. Mac Mini hasn't been updated in several years. There is a website that has a buyer's guide at Mac Room. Yeah, it's Mac Rumors, right? Yeah. And one of the things they do, and I'm having trouble keeping my iPad connected to the internet, is they track how long it's been since the last update of a computer. So if we go to Macs, the MacBook Pro has just been updated, so it's safe to buy because there isn't a new one coming. But if we look at some of the previous ones, the 12-inch MacBook, it's been 200 days. The iMac has been almost 400 days since it was last updated. The MacBook Air, 600 days. In fact, one of the things they did do is the 11-inch MacBook Air has been discontinued completely because the 12-inch is physically smaller but has a bigger screen anyway than the 11-inch Air. The 13-inch Air is still available, but still no Retina screen. What we expect possibly next year is that the 12-inch is going to drop in price and the Air is going to be discontinued completely. And Apple is going to shift to completely Retina models. Mac Mini, 755 days. Mac Pro, over 1,000 days since the Mac Pro came out. Apparently when Phil Schiller said can't innovate my ass, apparently that wasn't bragging, it was frustration. Can't innovate my ass. So for a pro machine, there's very little upgradability to it, and they haven't even put new processors in the last 4 years. So it's if you're looking at a laptop, you can get good deals. What we call at our store the yesterday models, the previous generation. Even though they're still on the product line, the previous generation did drop in price a little bit. And if you don't need the latest technologies or the latest whiz bang, you can save a bit of money on the previous version. That was probably the biggest of the Apple newses. We talked about Apple Watch 3 already. And Todd is going to be, I'm sorry, Apple Watch 2 with iOS, or WatchOS 3. And Todd is going to be talking about iOS 10 in his talk a little bit later. How many people have upgraded to macOS Sierra? A few, yeah. How about iOS 10? About the same. One of the things Apple does is that their OSs often have companion features. So one of the features now is that your watch can unlock your Mac. So instead of typing a password in, your phone or your watch, the proximity of to your Mac will unlock it. Now we have a fingerprint reader on the newest Mac, so you can use that to unlock your Mac as well. So moving to the latest OS on both platforms allows them to have that type of cross compatibility and feature between them. Yeah, it's gone from the Mac rumors list. No, actually, it might be on other. The third generation Apple TV was discontinued completely. The fourth generation has replaced it at a higher price, which is a little annoying. Apple's Thunderbolt display has been discontinued completely. I talk and think, and I'm not doing very good. And at the event, and then later on in the store, Apple has a 27-inch LG 5K monitor, and they have a 21-inch 4K monitor. So for graphics professionals, that was one of the ironies, is that you can get a 5K iMac for $1,800, but you can't get a 5K monitor to go on your $3,000 Mac Pro. So the 5K monitor has actually dropped in price. That hit the market at $1,300. Now it's down to $975 if you want a 27-inch 5K. And let's do the 4K model, see what its price dropped to. So generally speaking, people that like these high-res monitors are typically video editors, because you want all of the, find it again, thank you. You want all of the pixels on a 5K monitor, so you can edit your 4K video and still have space for menus and buttons and dialogues in your video editing app. So the 4K display is down to 525. And a lot of people just like having that many pixels on screen because they like having lots and lots of screen space. So there was a lot of speculation that Apple was going to introduce their own 5K monitor, basically the 5K iMac without a Mac inside of it. But instead, they're working with, excuse me. Excuse me, working with LG to make the 4K monitor with and 5K monitor with a USB-C port, so it'll plug right into the new machines very well. And it's got tilt and swivel and raise and lower, so it's all the typical things you expect in a PC monitor. Nothing that Apple has typically done in their own monitors in a long time. Alrighty. I think that was the biggest of the news. We can check their hot news page. If you haven't seen the keynote, you can go and watch the keynote. Oh, the AirPods have been delayed. We're not sure why. Wireless Bluetooth earpods. You can use both of them together in stereo and have about 5 hours of battery life. The case they come in is a charger, and so you can use one at a time and get 5 hours each, and then plug it back into the charger, and you can get about 25 hours of charge out of your two AirPods and the charging case. So most people that just use it for a telephone, you don't need to have stereo unless you're listening to music. So it was a neat way to be able to extend the battery life. Hopefully they'll start shipping soon, and we'll be able to get a review of them. They are a bit expensive, but for Bluetooth headsets at $159, that's pretty reasonable for a Bluetooth headset, especially stereo Bluetooth. Alrighty, you want to do AirPlay to us so then we can get it in the recording feed too. How much time do you want?
Do 30 minutes, or what do you want?
However long we need. They aren't ready with refreshments yet, so why don't we have Todd start? How much time did you need, Bob? How much time as you want? Okay, as much time as questions come up. Alrighty. So then you can go to slideshow. I can go to full screen. And
Test.
there we are.
Can you hear me? Okay.
And I can get this going.
All right. So normally I would send out the PowerPoint or PDF of the PowerPoint, or keynote in this case, after the presentation so you could have it. But I took this material from iPhone Life Insider, the Insider Guide. I write for iPhone Life magazine, so the Insider Guide is something you have to buy, so I don't really have the right to send it out. So pay attention. If you have any questions about it later, you can come up and I can show you. Or I recommend becoming an insider for about $60, or no, I think it's $20 a year or something like that.
Is this on newsstands or subscription only?
So the magazine itself is on newsstands, but the Insider subscription, where you get tips and tricks to your email, that's electronic. Okay, and includes the magazine.
Yes, we got to move the camera to him. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yep.
Let's just go through this. The first thing you'll notice when you pick up your phone running iOS 10 is there's this raise to wake feature. So before you would have to press a button, either the sleep button or the home button, to get the thing to turn on, and then you'd log into it. Now it will, if you enable raise to wake, as soon as it senses that motion, the screen will light up. So you'll see all your notifications, and it's a nice touch. At first, I thought, oh gosh, this is going to use up a lot of battery, because if I just move my phone over from here to here, it's going to turn on. But I think it's offsets it, because it also turns off that much more quickly as well. It doesn't wait anymore for the 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 minute timeout that you used to have. So it might stay on for 5 seconds, and then it'll go off for in 5 seconds. So I haven't noticed a battery problem with it. I like it. Another thing when you're turning it on is the slide to unlock. Now that pretty much every iOS device has a fingerprint reader, all you have to do is put your finger on the Touch ID, and it will unlock. You don't have to enter your code or do the swipe to get its attention so you can enter the code. And
ironically, the Google Samsung lawsuit over slide to unlock is still going on.
In fact, I just read today that there's a Kickstarter. So suppose you have gloves, right? And we're getting to that season where you're going to start wearing gloves. Well, you can get those special gloves that are capacitive. They have silver thread, or there's different technologies so that the fingers still work on a touchscreen. But what about your fingerprint, right? Let's say you want to pay for your gas and it's freezing cold and you don't have to take your glove off to unlock it. So they now have these stickers that essentially have a unique fingerprint. So you place the sticker on your glove and then you train your phone with Touch ID to recognize that sticker fingerprint. Right. Now, they say that every one of the stickers that they're going to sell is unique, right? But if they weren't, then anybody who buys it in this room or in this country would be able to unlock everyone else's phone. So I'm not a believer in that. But
there was actually some disturbing case law where a judge in California, I think it was, granted a search warrant for a suspected drug house. And as part of the warrant, the police were able to require everyone physically in the house to unlock their phone with their fingerprint. So anyone who just happened to be in the house had to unlock their phone so it could be searched, because the police didn't want to have a locked phone to have to fight Apple for. So there's something to be said about not using a fingerprint, because you cannot be compelled to divulge a passcode, because that's Fifth Amendment. So if you are about to get busted by the police, turn your phone off. Because when you turn your phone on, it requires a passcode. You cannot use your fingerprint on a fresh boot phone, and therefore they can't get into your device.
True. Yes, that's a good point. Right, so there's a lot of fingerless gloves, or just the finger part has a flap. Yep, good idea. Camera access. It used to be you'd have to swipe up from the right from a specific spot, but now you can just swipe left on the wake screen and get into the camera mode. Because you haven't entered your passcode at this point, you don't have access to your photos. It's sort of a sandbox of new photos. Notifications, this is another big change. So before it was pretty much like text messages, but now you can see all these notifications. And if you have a 3D 3D touch device, anybody have the 6S, 6S Plus, 7S, 7S Plus? Then you have 3D touch. So on some apps, almost all apps now, when you push down firmly, it will bring up a menu. So you press once, and it does the default action. But if you press hard, it actually brings up a menu like this. So you can see your notifications and take action without actually opening up the app that notified you. If you have the SE phone like I do, it does not have the 3D touch. So widgets are very popular on Android and becoming popular with iOS. You can have individual applications right on your home screen, and you can rearrange them, move them around, so you can get weather. Maybe you prefer the Weather Channels app as opposed to the Apple Weather app. So you go into your widgets, scroll all the way up, and at the bottom there's an edit button, and then you can delete and rearrange your widgets. And honestly, without even knowing, I have 61 widgets on my phone. I never installed a single one. So apps that have widgets support will automatically be there. So I'm going to delete these soon.
It's like when you get so many apps on your phone. Ooh, that's neat, download. Ooh, that's neat, download.
Yeah. All right, so as I mentioned, 3D touch. All right. Control center, so at the bottom, you can just swipe up and you can access things before you could access the camera. Well, now you can access with 3D touch specifics for the camera. Take a photo, record slow motion video, record a video, take a selfie using the front-facing camera, the timer, for example. So much more granular. Emojis is probably the biggest thing, not only for iOS, but the touch bar.
Yep.
So that people are really excited about the new emojis that just came out in iOS 10.2, which I have on my iPhone. It's only in beta, but there's a whole bunch of new emojis, and even the existing emojis have all been designed for higher resolution, for more depth. Because originally all these emojis were made for like 32 by 32, and there's only so much quality you can put in such a small size. But now that we have these big devices and we have emojis on computers, it's they've added more resolution, more depth, and new words and new shades and gender and so on.
There was an interesting kerfuffle. Was it 10.0 that had the squirt gun? There's an emoji. There's a character of a pistol. And after one of the school shootings, there was a sort of an outcry against this pistol emoji. So Apple made a change in the OS and turned it into a squirt gun. Problem is, other companies didn't. So if you send that emoji to an Android user, hey, let's go to the park and bring your squirt gun, they get, hey, let's go to the park with a pistol. And so there's no unification of emoji. So Unicode is trying to unify emoji so that it works the same on all platforms.
Right. So there's this standard for emojis. Everybody has the same available emojis, but it's up to each platform to just decide what it looks like. And maybe when this is done, I'll show you. There's a new emoji website or web address service from GoDaddy. So I just reserved a domain name that is nothing but emojis. That's pretty cool. This is the other big thing that people really abused when the iOS 10 first came out. The ability to send effects with your text messages, bubbles. Even Apple has a commercial where they show all these balloons, helium balloons, floating around the city and then arriving on the lady's office and in her phone. And so you can have these cute effects, but people went overboard when they discovered that. This is important for me because I'm an app developer. There's an entire new app store just for iMessage. So you can create your own videos and animations and sounds and send those as animations in iMessage. And so there's a whole storefront now. So I created an iMessage app called Presidential Stickers. So you can have the American flag, you can have an American eagle, you can have the presidential podium, and you can just add those to your iMessage thread and even superimpose them, because they're stickers, on a photo. So you can have a photo of yourself and then add the presidential podium in front of you, and the eagle on your shoulder and a flag to your left, or so on. It's a lot of fun.
Ask your grandkids; they'll tell you it's great.
Yeah, right. All right, yeah, so you can react to a text. So just like Facebook lets you like something, thumbs up, thumbs down, haha, exclamation, etc. So you can react to somebody's text. You can even handwrite messages. There's some pre-built-in ones. So if your handwriting's lousy, especially with a finger on a screen, you can just use those, or you can draw, just like the Apple Watch, actually. This feature was Scribble on the Apple Watch. So you can send photos and videos, but here you don't have to leave the app. You're still in the iMessage app. Right, so you see what you're responding to, and you have just a smaller viewfinder. But you can take a video, take a photo from within iMessage instead of leaving it, taking up the camera app, saving the photo, and then say, yes, use in iMessage. Oh, this is important, tailoring read receipts. So my daughter, she's 16, she doesn't like to have read receipts on, because if some boy is bothering her or stalking her, he sends a text, he could see if she read it or not, right? So she turns off read receipts. But me as her father, I want to know if she read my text message, right? I'm going to be late to pick you up. I want to know that she got it. So you can now do that per user. So that's good.
I've read stories about panic where someone hasn't answered a text in a minute.
Right. There's these funny threads online. You know, someone, if you're in the movies or your phone runs out of battery and it's like the first text is, you know, are we still on for tonight? And the last text is, I hate you. I don't want to see you again. Because everything in between was, why haven't you responded? You know, are you seeing somebody else? What's, you know, what did I do wrong? And, you know, the person just, their phone was out of juice. So in a text message, when you get a link, you'll now actually see what the media is that link was. So, you know, a YouTube video, you can see it and play it right from within iMessage without leaving to open YouTube or go into the Safari browser. Digital Touch, I mentioned, this came from the Apple Watch, so you can scribble and send a little a heart or whatever you can draw. Facial recognition. So, gosh, I remember coming here years ago for a talk about photos on the Mac, and it was a really cool feature that the Mac version could detect your photos of all your family members, and then you could say, show me all the pictures of my wife, and it would know how to do that. Well, that power is now down in the iPhone. The computers are getting so much faster, so it can go through your photos on your phone or your iPad and recognize who is your wife, who's your brother, who's your daughter, and so on. And that's pretty cool. You can also create montages or videos called memories. So if you're not good at creating videos of your photos, your favorite photos, it can have music and fonts and everything, and you don't have to be an expert to create those. You can see details like where your photo was taken, right, with GPS. So that's embedded in every photo, and it can actually show a map while you're looking at it. So you can see where those photos were taken, or, you know, I don't remember where I stored that photo, but it was taken in this place. You can mark up your photos with different fonts and colors. You know, a lot of these features used to be an app that you would buy. So again, me as an app developer, this is a little threatening because it's like, you know, boy, Apple's going to introduce something in iOS for free that I used to be able to make money selling, you know. So fortunately, that hasn't happened for most of these features for me. But I'm sure some developers lost their revenue. This is really nice with email. This is a good example. I used to use a service called Maelstrom that would make it easy for me to unsubscribe. And now, right, if you get an email at the very, very bottom in very small font, probably gray on white text, it says, if you want to unsubscribe, click here. So the email program looks for that and says, oh, this email, this newsletter, you can unsubscribe to, and it puts that bright and bold and right at the beginning. So, you know, you don't have to find it. It just says, hey, this is a mailing list. Do you want to unsubscribe? So it makes it a lot easier. So that's going to be helpful. This is nice too for me because I get so many emails. You can filter by unread. So, you know, if the other day I drove to New York City to pick up my wife and back. So I was just out of commission for a long time. I came back, I had like 200 emails. So I could just say, just show me the unread ones and go through those. Now this one I don't necessarily like, which is message threads. This is something they introduced on the Macintosh. So you could have, you know, you get an email from this person, the next day you get another email from another person with the same thread and so on. They would all be together, right? So that's nice so that you can say, oh yeah, this is what you were referring to when you said yes, you know? But I think that works really well on a big screen. But on an iPhone like this, you see, you know, it's all shrunk down and you'd have to click on it to expand it. And my concern is I end up deleting the entire thread when I just wanted to delete one of the emails. I guess with Gmail, just give up on deleting, so
Yeah.
that makes it easy.
It just moves it out of your inbox.
Now this is nice. The folders feature. So if I have a lot of folders in my email, like I'll have a folder called coupons and a folder called work and a folder called personal and so on. And if an email comes in, it's almost artificial intelligence. It learns enough to say, oh, you tend to send emails from this person or with this subject line in this folder. So it defaults to that. So it will say, if I hit the move to folder button, it will default to that folder. And then it'll say other in case I want to change it. So it makes it really easy for repetitive tasks. This is something a lot of people have asked for, but I've never thought it was a big deal. There's a lot of apps that come for free from Apple, like the News app and the Address Book app, and people might not use them. And so they say, gee, I wish I could delete those. Well, I just put those all in a folder called Apple, and I rarely use it, right? But they seem to think it's taken up space, right? So Apple now lets you delete it. But I presented this at my App Rochester group, and somebody did it and measured the disk space before and after, and there was no change. So we think it really just hides it. So it's still there.
And one of the tech notes said it only takes 2 or 3 megs anyway.
Yeah.
But when Apple sells an 8 gig phone and a 16 gig phone, every few megs can add up.
So I think they reinstalled the app, and it was instantly available.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, it didn't download; it was always there. But it's like a placebo. Lyric. So here's an example of an app this is a very common app or use on the internet. Kids are searching for lyrics to music. And so now if Apple's able to show it, it will automatically show the lyrics for a song that's playing. The other thing is, I used to have iTunes Match, and that came with iTunes Radio. And so it was essentially free. It's like $25 a year. And then Apple got rid of that because they wanted to sell a $120 a year Apple Music subscription. And that was the way you get radio. Enough people complained or didn't show enough interest, so they now do have some free radio stations, even if you don't subscribe to Apple Music. Apple News, this replaced Newsstand, and this competitor to this was Flipboard, which I really like. Flipboard is really an elegant way to read your news and swipe and gestures. It's great on the iPad too. So Apple sort of put them not necessarily out of business, but give them a lot of competition because this is free, and they make it advertiser friendly. So it's like a magazine meant for a touchscreen device, and they can sell ads for it. As a part of that, they have breaking news. You can get alerts for it, but it gets annoying. Subscriptions for app developers, this is a big deal because Apple charges 30% of any purchase. So, if I sell an app for 99 cents, I get 70 cents. If I, charge for an in-app purchase 99 cents, I get 70 cents. Subscriptions were the same way, but they've changed it so the second year, I'll get 85 cents. So Apple will only take 15% after the first year. They did this because really HBO wanted it. And so they did it especially for HBO so that they could get Game of Thrones and all this on the Apple TV and iOS as a dedicated app if you didn't have cable. And now they've rolled that out to everybody, but only after the second year. So what does it mean to you? You're probably going to see companies moving to a subscription purchase instead of flat out purchasing an app because they can get more revenue, obviously, every year, but they get more of that revenue after year one. But it also means you should get upgrades and expect upgrades. Collaboration, they showed this on stage at the announcement. So if you use a Mac and you use an iOS device, iPad, say Keynote, like this is in Keynote, multiple people can be working on the same document in real time. And somebody can add an image, change a logo, change a color, add some text, and everybody gets those benefits in real time. That's pretty cool. Collaboration. Multitasking, if you have an iPad or especially an iPad Pro, you've got this big screen and now you can split it up. And so this is interesting to me because I used to not write my articles on the iPad because I always needed to open a browser and my word processing tool. And so now I can have those simultaneously on the screen at the same time, and it's running. It's not just like a static image. Like the old days of Windows 3.1, it was, they called it multitasking, but it was really multi-windowing. There was still only one thing running at a time. Okay. Oh, this is cool. So you can literally drag with macOS Sierra, and you're both logged into your iCloud account, you can drag files onto your desktop and they'll appear in your iCloud Drive on your iPhone and iPad. Okay. So this is another thing. I have a special alarm clock, like a $100 alarm clock that I can say on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I want to wake up at 6, but on the weekends, I want to wake up at 7 or whatever, and I want to wake up to radio and so on. Now you can do that with this bedtime feature of the alarm clock. So, you know, this is, again, this is something people would buy apps for. And now I can say on school days, work days, I want to wake up at such a time.
To remind you it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
I run into that too. I'll go to bed and read a little bit and suddenly it's, you know, midnight. And, yeah.
Or 3 a.m. like it was on election day.
Yeah.
For me. All right, maps. Oh, so this is interesting. So it knows where you tend to go. It's a little Big Brother-ish, but you know, it'll say, oh, it's this much distance to work in the morning because it figures that's probably where I'm going, even if it's not on my agenda. You can also, and this was a big reason to still use a GPS device before, you know, if you wanted to go to some place and then you said, oh, but I want to stop for gas or I want to stop for a meal on my way, with a GPS device, there was ways to do that. It's called a waypoint along the way. Now you can do that with the Maps app. So you can add multiple stops along your route. This is really cool. Again, there were apps to do this, but now it does it built into Maps. It will know where you parked. I told this to my brother-in-law. I said, that alone is the reason to go to iOS 10. So if you have Bluetooth in your car, which most of us do, it will know at what point your phone disconnected from Bluetooth, and it figures out, okay, that's when you got 30 feet away from your car. So I know where you're parked. Okay, a little Big Brother again, but it's useful.
We used to just take a picture of the sign. Yeah.
Yeah, Strong Hospital or something.
Yeah.
All right. No, this is the parked car? No, that's in the Maps app, Apple Maps. So your destinations, your previous destinations, one of them is parked car. Yeah, they have an organ donor registry. This is in the Health app. So you can let people know and use Facebook to tell everybody that you did that. This is really cool, voicemail transcription. So you don't have to listen to your voicemail. It will do speech-to-text recognition and know what that person said. And it's in beta, but it's been pretty good for me. This is some new stuff that I wrote. Let's real quickly. So Siri now works with more types of apps. Your messaging apps, you can say, you know, hey Siri, read me back my my text messages. You can use voice over IP apps like WhatsApp.
You don't have Hey Siri turned on? No. Hey Siri, call home. Nope.
My phone should have done that.
Sometimes it's bad that it can answer any voice.
Yeah. All right. Oh, this is nice. The HomeKit app is finally getting better. So I have a lot of smart home devices, and a lot of them are increasingly supporting Apple's HomeKit. So you know, that's good. I mentioned the voicemail transcription. Okay. There's a lot of stuff they did in accessibility, but I'll leave that. Okay. Here's some tweaking tips. There's an option to say rest finger to open. So instead of having to like forcefully push on the home button, you can just place your finger there and it will open it. But you can turn that on and off. Notifications. You might not want to have all your notifications, especially the reply capability, on the home screen because of security. You know, what if you get a notification, oh, what time is that surprise party for your wife? And your wife sees your phone, right? You know, so you know, you can use your imagination for much worse examples. But so you can turn things like that on and off. Same thing with Siri. You know, anybody can just go, hey Siri, you know, reboot my computer and open the garage door. And
Yep.
it
There's
just happened.
Yeah.
It just happened. Of course, I said I don't understand. Reboot my computer. Yeah. The raise to wake feature I mentioned, I like it. It goes on quickly, but it also goes off quickly. But you can disable it. Okay. And that's my presentation. So there you go. Yeah, question. Yeah.
Rest to unlock, was
right
it?
at the bottom. Head to settings, display, and brightness.
Oh, no, that's the raise to wake. The rest your finger on the Touch ID.
Okay.
There it is. Yep.
Settings, general, accessibility.
There's a lot of new stuff under accessibility that isn't necessarily restricted to people with disabilities, and there's a lot of neat things under there. I've got my phone set to magnify the text a little bit because quite often the controls are a little small, especially on a smaller phone screen. Yeah, we hit 50 and things go downhill. Actually, I'm probably the youngest one here. No. Yeah.
But every time you do that, it says that is so I assume it's using Wi-Fi in some way for location. It's also using GPS.
All right. So if you have a cellular capable device, which yours is not. So my iPad is. Even if I don't have a data plan, that cellular GPS capability is available. Okay, because that's not going to AT&T. That's going to the satellite. So a cellular capable device, even without a data plan, can know where it is by GPS. If you have a Wi-Fi only device, iPod Touch, for example, or an iPad with just Wi-Fi, what it does is it looks for all the Wi-Fi signals around you, right? So you see that right there? So it's smart enough to say, this pattern only happens at East High School.
So is it somehow able, you know, it's obviously not able to get into these Wi-Fi,
Right.
But is it able to tell their IP address type thing?
It's not their IP, it's their SSIDs. The name which is publicly available. That's what's broadcast right there. So Rick's got a cellular capable iPad, say, and you don't. But because he does, that goes out to the internet, and this list goes to the internet. And so Apple knows that when I see these, I'm at East High School because I know I'm at East High School because of him. So when you see the same things, you must be at East High School.
Now Google.
What's tricky, I was careful,
Yeah.
is you have that portable Apple CIDER thing. So when we go to the church, right, it might get confused, right? Because it doesn't think that SSID is going to be roaming around, right? So in most places, it works pretty well. That's where you get into trouble, when somebody takes the same device and moves it around. Yeah. Right.
But your hotspot is connected to cellular, and cellular knows where it is, and so it's telling Wi-Fi where it is. Yeah. Sometimes that's called Wi-Fi assisted GPS because it's just Wi-Fi. Google got in trouble a few years ago. The Google Street View car, while it's taking pictures of the street, it was also collecting Wi-Fi hotspot data and said, oh, here's a Wi-Fi network and here's its geographic location. And because so many people had open Wi-Fi hotspots, when Google was asking, is there Wi-Fi there? Is there Wi-Fi there? The open network is sending out personal data, in essence. And Google got in trouble in some courts, some counties, for collecting personal data, even though if you have a radio and you're broadcasting your personal data, it's not my fault my receiver picked it up. It's your fault for transmitting it. But Google's got a lot of money, and so people sued them. The limitation with GPS is to get a full GPS lock, you need 4 satellites to get XYZ and altitude. So your full geographic coordinates, and that can take up to 12 minutes to get a GPS lock. So it's a lot faster to use Wi-Fi. So a lot of places will use the Wi-Fi distribution, Wi-Fi assisted GPS. And when you are connected to the internet and you have location services on, it knows where it is. And then there's an accelerometer in the iPad so that even if you turn Wi-Fi off, it knows how you're turning and how it's moving. So even if you have a Wi-Fi only device, you can look up a map with the Maps program while you're connected to the internet, take that into the car, use it as a GPS, and it knows your turns, it knows the routes, and it will guide you. What it won't be able to do is recalculate a route if you make a wrong turn, because it needs an internet connection for that. But you can still use a Wi-Fi only device as a turn-by-turn map while you're connected to the internet when you create the direction list, which is kind of interesting.
All right, real quick, I just wanted to show this because I promised I would. So you can now get an emoji domain name. It has to end in .ws, but that might change over time. But this is by GoDaddy. And you get here by going heart.ws and emoji. If you're wondering, gee, how do I type these characters without that new touch bar, for example? On the Mac, you do Control, Command, Space, and it brings up a virtual so there you go. We could get blue heart grr.ws for $4.99 a year.
Apple's latest emoji set also includes more female occupations and more persons of color. So it's getting more genetically and racially diverse, which a lot of people were asking for.
So one of my businesses is called Flix Academy. So I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I got the movie
Clapboard?
clapboard and the graduation cap.
There it is.
There it is. So I got that domain. Flix Academy. Kind of cute. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this with the refreshments. I have a Ring video doorbell, which is a lot of fun on Halloween. Oh, I didn't even plan this.
That's my gadget.
Ring.com, and they made me a neighborhood ambassador, neighborhood manager, and so they've given us a $25 off code. So I'll leave this out front, but if you order at Ring.com, save 25 bucks. Okay, that's it.
I think that's better than the code I had, which was free shipping, free overnight shipping.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. All righty, let's take about a 15-minute break or so. Shirley had some refreshments set up in the back there. Homemade cookies tonight, wasn't it? Donations welcome. If you do want to renew your dues, you can come down and see me, and we will start back up in a little while. Thanks. I wonder if anyone goes out and sees if they have better refreshments in the other place. Yeah, you got to get patted down. Yeah. Oh. I was a little annoyed.
We believe in a wireless future. A future where all of your devices intuitively connect. This belief drove the design of our new wireless AirPods. They have been made possible with the development of the new Apple-designed W1 chip. It is the first of its kind to produce intelligent, high-efficiency playback while delivering a consistent and reliable connection.
They say home is where the heart is, but most of the
disabled. And later when people were reading, that has. Now, what happens if you then put in your address? Someone may make a mistake. So it's not correct. You can say it's not correct. HAS. Or what's correct HAS to because that's also a valid. So as long as it finds a valid word in all of its collection. Yes, thank you.
Well, you probably got one of the old ones.
Yeah.
And so she goes in for a plan. Yeah, you had the old plan. And she changed it to a new plan. I said, well, how is it different? No, it's exactly the same. New plan, $450, new plan, $70.
He's already paid off the cost of the phone.
Well, because that's what the new plan is.
Yeah.
And, going to $70, and now I'm going to buy a new phone. I'm going to buy it for me, can't take the phone and get
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the new plans now are separating the cost of the phone and the cost of the service. So when you pay off the phone, your bill goes down. You know, for the last 15 years, you had a 2-year contract and you paid off the phone, your bill never went down. You just kept paying for the phone you've already paid off. Yeah. Alrighty, let's get started again. And we'll, sounds like they're letting out back there. We'll wait a minute to let them, are they leaving or are they on the intermission? Well, I see people going out the door. Yeah. Yeah, all right. All right, so now we're going to have a presentation on Ancestry.com from our own Bob Hoey. Really neat getting back into genealogy. It's growing again now that we have a lot of the websites available for tracking your ancestry, and you don't have to dig through libraries yourself. And so Bob's going to show us off. Thanks.
Has anybody here used Ancestry.com?
Has anybody here used Ancestry.com before? One user, two users, three. Okay. Well, I always thought I'd want to get my DNA checked. And I've been Irish for my whole life, up until about 3 months ago. And it was on sale. They had a sale on the DNA test. So normally it's $100. And it was $10 off. So I said, okay. They send me a spit test, and it's a little vial. You spit into it until you get up to the line, and then you put a cap on it with a preservative, shake it all up, put it in the box and mail it to them, and then they tell you what you are. And I'll get to my DNA. I'll show you the report in a minute. But they also gave me free access to their software. And it's really cool. I just think that it's overpriced. So if you look here on the screen right now, the US Discovery for a 6-month membership is $100. So $200 a year to be a member of there. If you want World Explorer, which gives you access to documents in other countries around the world, that's $150 for 6 months, so $300 a year. And All Access is more and better and more expensive. It's all too expensive, except I'm planning on collaborating with some of my relatives where we'll pitch in $50 a piece, and with like four or five of us, we'll have the money. We'll share a common family tree and a common sign-in and so on. So that's the price. Let me get back. I use the back arrow here. There's a lot of things there. I guess I'll just sign in right now. And what happened here? Oh, there we go. I keep forgetting my password, but they're pretty good about if they got your email, they'll send you a key and you can change it. So it's and there I am. I know I'm in because here it says Bob Hoy 1208. That's my account name. And it has my card so I can sign up and send them some money. And it's got 9 hints. And the hints are little leaves. There's also email where you can email your alleged relatives all over the world. And I guess I'll show you my family tree. Now down in the lower left-hand corner, you see all those little colored chads. And you can move the window around, navigation window. The one with the black dot is me. And it's got my picture there. And up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a leaf. And that leaf is a hint. If I click on it, it'll tell me I have one ancestry hint. And I can go to that hint by clicking on the little sign. There it goes. And the one hint is U.S. Public Records Index 1950 to 1993. And if I want to review it for more information, it's going to tell me, I expect, that I have to pay money. So I'm not a member now. So every time I see something I want to go to it, they give you a nice friendly reminder that you can sign up and they'll help you. But what's nice about this, go back here again, is that I've got to my family tree, even though I'm no longer a member. I created this family tree when I was waiting for my DNA to come back. Oh, this thing here. View tree. There we go. And next to me is my brother. I put him in. And then the hints, I put in I have to move up. My mother, I just added today my mother's picture. She passed away when I was 11, so this is an old picture. And but it was very easy to put it in. So you can populate the family tree with pictures of the relatives that you have. And I've been able to do that to modify the family tree, even though I'm not a member. They don't charge you to add pictures to your family tree, and I can add people to my family tree without have to be a member. What you do have to be a member to do is to see the documents. So those little hints, like here's my mother's picture, and I click on that, the little leaf, and there are 6 ancestry hints. To go see any of that documentation, I have to be a member. But I can see what it is by clicking on the little blue thing here. There we go. And so there's my mother. It says her birthday, August 1925, New York. Died in 1957, Auburn, New York. My mother died. Over here is a quick edit. There's some of that basic data is complicated. You can just hit the quick edit. And you get a page where you can change like a birth date or spelling of a name or something like that. There are tools there. But under her, she had 9 ancestry hints. So I can go, if I were a member, and I'll become a member again when we pool our money and sign up. But there's a lot of work involved. So I want to make sure I'm going to have the time to spend messing with it. Imagine over the next 10 years, I'll probably become a member for 6 months and then screw it for another year and then become a member again, depending on my relatives and how they feel about it. But here we see the 1930 United States Federal Census, 1940 Federal Census. There's a law apparently that you can't see the Federal Census data for 70 years. So you're not going to get the federal census for, 1990. It's not going to be available. But then there's U.S. cities directories, da-da-da. And one of the big clues is other people's family trees. So you got, thousands of other relatives, and some of them have created family trees, and any of those other family trees have the same people that show up in your family tree, then you get that as a hint. You can go look at their family tree, say, oh, look, they got Joe Schmo in here. That's my great-grandfather. And it shows his brother. So you pick up new information, As far as going backward, I said I was Irish. I discovered, let me go to the DNA here. Let's say last viewed. I don't know what that is. Well, it says he could be, but I'm looking for my DNA, which I thought would appear here. Let me go back to the home. Robert White family tree. This looks a little different than, oh, this is a brother of mine. I just added him today, and another first cousin. I was looking for the DNA. Oh, there we go. Robert Hoy DNA. So here it tells me ethnicity estimate. I am 88% Great Britain. So I'm a Brit. Being Irish, I'm always denigrating Brits, and now I'm a Brit. So it goes. It does, and so I'm not even sure what that all means. But it also shows me 10% East European, and I don't know of any East European relatives. But I have a grandmother who was adopted, and we don't know anything about her background. So maybe she was Polish or German or who knows, some East European country. So I want to see my ethnicity estimate, and they give you this little map, and it shows United Kingdom. I just saw a thing that estimates the average citizen in the UK, only 37% of them are British. So the average UK citizen is less British than I am. So then over here we have the huge thing, but we can also trace regions. Now we got a more detailed. I got a 1% Scandinavian. So my great-great-grandfather, the Viking, came and met up with one of my grandmothers, and so I'm 1% Scandinavian, the 1% Irish, and 1% from the Iberian Peninsula. Que bueno. So those are the kind of breakdowns you get. And then, let's see, what else was I going to show? All regions. Well, this is the kind of thing that's becoming more and more accurate as they go on, because they base their modeling on the genetic information of the people that actually are their customers. But they also get it from checking out. You can read up on it. They have their own credibility thing, and their competitors. You know, you can go, if you choose not to go here, you can go to 23andme.com, which is another one, which has a basic price of $200 instead of $100, and for the DNA, that is. And that woman that started 23andMe, I think she's married to one of the big movers, not PayPal, but Google, or one of those. She's married into that whole. You know, you can look it up. The owner of 23andme.com. They had a thing about power women and on TV recently, and she was one of the people they profiled. Yeah, well, they do that anyway. There's DNA matches down here, 10 shared ancestor hints. Let's say 153 cousins or closers. So I click on that. And so here I've got 153 people. Some of them I know, some I have no idea. I don't know who Gene Stafford is. This one. Yeah, I spit in a tube and sent it to them. Well, yeah, they share DNA. Their DNA matches or close matches. And here's 204 people here, and it says view match. So I just take this one at random, and MJ Bird H. I don't know what that even means. Connected relationships, second cousins, possible range, first to second cousins. What does this mean? And it'll explain it. Confidence is extremely high. DNA circle connection, and it's got some names. There's Daniel Robert Adams. Adams is in my family, going back towards the John Adams. I'm related to Sam Adams, except I checked the date in my family tree, Sam Adams, and compared it to Wikipedia for Sam Adams, and the birthday was off by 20 years. So maybe it was a nephew, or I'm not sure. Yeah. But anyway, let me go back to my family tree for a second. I'll show you one of the things that kind of floored me. I follow up, and you have to move the thing in the lower corner. And I use a bigger screen at home. I have a 27-incher, so this is a little awkward for me. But where did I go with it? This is one of the things that I found. I'm only 1% Irish according to this, but there's my mother, and it goes back to her grandfather's George Patton, and he was married to Kate Kelsey, and she was born in Ireland. So that's my great-grandmother, and that should make me 12%. But I'm only 1%, so what does that mean? Right, exactly. She's probably a Brit who came over to Ireland. Her parents came over to Ireland. She was born there, but she's not Irish, and you know, so on. So it's what it is. You can go back. I can keep going back. These little arrows at the top, they'll take you back another couple generations, like John Milton Harvey. We got a lot of John Miltons in my family. John Milton Harvey the second, the third, and allegedly somewhere back there they were friends with John Milton, the poet, and that's how the Milton came into the Harvey family name. I don't know. But going farther back, I was able to get, I could try to trace it back here, but I got back to the 1400s, to my 14th great-grandparents. So I got names for them and not much else, but it's a basis for doing research. And if I subscribe to the world thing, so I could go look at British documents, then I would be able to find even more interesting information. And when you find some of these documents, they're actual documents. So the censuses with the actual handwriting of the census taker, or the people that were being questioned about their, it was probably just census takers, but whoever. One of the things I found interesting was trying to trace Michael Hoy coming from Ireland to, and I found within a 50-year span, there were like 12 Michael Hoys who had emigrated from Ireland to the U.S. And I had the passenger manifest for each of those ships. You could see the names handwritten in, you know, their age at the time. Some were 17-year-olds and some were 35-year-olds. But were they related to me or not? They're Michael Hoys, we're the Hoy family. I'd have to do more research and so on. So this doesn't do it all for you, but it's a handy tool, overpriced as it may be, but it's a handy tool to really quickly get into your family tree, and then you can refine on it. Any questions? Well, there were things like I used to have what was the name of the genealogy software?
Family Tree Maker and Reunion and Mac Family Tree.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of them, but I can't really. I had one. I never really used it much. Yeah, that's something I was going to mention because I haven't been there, but I know that the Mormons are huge on Ancestry, and it's on Westfall Road. Do you know the number? Okay. Anyway, the Latter-day Saints on Westfall Road, and they have an extensive, genealogy resource database. So, right, exactly. Yeah, I was, one of the big blocks for me is my grandmother who was adopted. Because I'm 70 now, she's dead. All my aunts and uncles are dead. And it's something I should have asked 50 years ago, but we weren't really close. And so now maybe it's just too late unless I want to really do some research. But I know that we were Catholic, and I know it was Auburn, New York, and so I sent St. Mary's diocese, or yeah, I guess a diocese, parish, St. Mary's Parish, a letter asking, do they have any records of adoptions or, with that name. And I never got anything back, but that's kind of work you have to do. It don't come easy. No, I saw stuff that I can't see now. You have to be an active member to go see that data because you don't download the documents. You get to see them. You can navigate around and so on. I probably could take screenshots of certain things, but I don't have any of the documents. A lot of it was information that was in other people's family trees. You can see the number of little tabs I have here is enormous. I threw anybody who might be related, I added them to the family tree. I figure, better to have somebody there that's wrong, I can just delete them later, than miss somebody who's important because I wasn't sure. Reunion, that's the one I used to have, but well, okay. Well, this would be a lot nicer if I worked harder at it. Like I just added some pictures. What do I got here? The picture of my mother. I added that today. I had to go through my photos thing and say, well, I know I got a picture of my mother in there somewhere, and I found it, and it's even a little tricky to edit the tree and get it in there. But if these had all pictures in them, then it'd be a much nicer looking product. Plus, it's so huge that it strings out. Even on my big screen monitor at home, I have to do a lot of scrolling. So on here, it's all the more scrolling.
There is familytreemaker.com, which is the standalone Mac or Windows version that will sync with the Ancestry.com trees. It's $70 for a single license or $90 for 3 computers. So it's a one-time payment, and that will sync with your tree online. But I think from what I'm reading, if you want to see all of those documents, you still have to have subscriptions in the online version.
Okay, well, I don't really have a whole lot more to say. I think I covered it. The DNA, the family tree, that's the basic. You can edit the family tree without being a member, but you can't see their documents without being a member. And you can get short-term, you can get a monthly membership. If you just want to do a little research, you think, well, in December I got some time and I'll work in December. You can get a $20 1-month membership. And I did all this in 3 weeks. So a 1-month membership, if you thought, well, that month I'll be into it. And that wasn't an ad for Quicken. but I'd be into it, and I'll take out a 1-month membership. But the other way of collaborating with your relatives and all kind of pitching in and sharing it seems like it makes a lot of sense. I have a cousin in Florida who I haven't seen in 40 years, but we compared our family trees. She had information, the one she had created, I had different information. We merged them together and came out with a common thing. Right. That's exactly. They showed the trees, and you would just click on one, and you'd see their tree who was in it, and there was a little button. If you thought somebody might be in common with yours, you just click it, and it would add it to your tree. So I could add you, but not you and him. Click them in, and they're in my tree. They might be right, they might be wrong, but that's a subject for more research later on. Well, I was disappointed because the DNA results came to me online. It took about 3 weeks, I think. And I expected to get like some kind of nice printout and stuff. And it was just what you saw here, saying you're 88% this and 10% that and 1%, 1%, 1%. And, it wasn't very fulfilling. The 23andMe that they advertise, they're talking about, well, this woman just found out that, people like her drink a lot of caffeine. I didn't get any kind of information like that from Ancestry.com, but allegedly 23andMe, that one is, did you ever find her name?
Yeah, she used to be married to Sergey Brin.
Yeah.
23andMe got in trouble for giving health
information. Yeah.
Like that. So, you're genetically predisposed to this disease, and the FDA shut them down for a while, and now they just sell it for entertainment purposes with no health data.
But her intention with 23andMe was to make it a very global assessment where individuals, not just doctors, could get access to their genetic predispositions. They could do their own research and find out about genetic markers and did they have this marker or that marker. And like Steve said, she got in trouble with the authorities for, you can do some, but not too much without a license, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I think I'm just about done. I'm out of words. I got some of the best words, but not today.
Yeah, we used to have a genealogy sig, and who was it? It was Mabel and Virginia, like 4 or 5 little, 20 years ago, the little ladies from Pittsford we're real big into that. Yep. And Shirley, you said a lot of the libraries have Ancestry.com for free? Heritage genealogy too, yeah. Yeah, Reunion is one of the other Mac apps that does Ancestry type programs. The Rochester Genealogical Society meets third Thursday of the month. So the October meeting has already passed, and they don't have the November meeting listed yet. All right, we're not scrolling. There it goes. No, I'm cursor, but there it is. Second Thursday of the month at the Latter-day Saints. At 7:30 to 9:30, second Thursday of the month, 1400 Westfall Road. $5 a year membership fee. Not bad. And they have a DNA interest group if you're interested in getting your DNA tested. Yeah. Is it not? Yeah, it says it's there. Infinite regression. Yay. Yeah, I've been finding that too on the YouTube app. I have to keep quitting and reopening it to keep it running. Are you on the CIDER network? Yeah, that should be fine.
Right, and I need sound.
This one? Or
Put that directly in.
RCA.
I just plug it in.
Alrighty, let me switch cameras.
Okay, we ready?
No,
No?
gotta get out of your screen a minute so I can get to the camera and switch to you on the camera. Alrighty.
Okay. So we're going to do our holiday gifts and gadgets for 2016 here. Remember the computer user stress ball? Well, because of the election, I found this. So if you felt stressed through the election, you know, well, now you can have Donald Trump there, right there, and he said what? And to be fair, we've got a Hillary Clinton one too. Why didn't you win? Oh well. Yeah, she won the popular vote. So you can have them argue and do the debates all over again if you want and have loads of fun. Perpetual Kid also makes this other interesting device thing that I came across. It's called Magic Slime, and it comes in different colors, and it's a reusable keyboard cleaner. And basically you take this putty and you put it on top of the keyboard, and then you peel it off, and it gets all the gunk and the, you know, fingerprints and everything that's been on your keyboard, and it takes it off. Yeah, it's kind of like a silly putty type thing, right? Except it's clear and it's colorful, and you can clean it. You can just, I think, wash it off, and you know, after a while, of course, it's going to get too grimy to use, and you know, by that time you toss it out. But you'll get lots of uses out of it before that occurs, and that's only $7.99 for that. I also came across this amp iPad speaker case, which is kind of interesting. They put this together through an Indigo campaign, and it says it was supposed to be shipping to backers by October. So it should be shipping now, really. If you go to the website and check it out. So the idea is it's supposed to give you a theater type experience on your little iPad in a personal way. I also came across this snooper scope, which is basically a night vision device for your smartphone or tablet. And it's $139. And it comes in camouflage, hunter green, black or white. And it also has these accessories for it. There's an accessory mount pad pack for your helmet or bike, or you can put it on a drone and fly it around, or a car mount. Now then, if you bought one of these new MacBook Pros or are planning on it, as you noticed from what Steve said earlier, there's a port issue that's going on. You know, Apple has gotten rid of a lot of ports, and now we're stuck with Thunderbolt 3 and USB-C. So what if you've got, you know, older devices that you still want to connect? Well, third parties luckily come to the rescue, and there's this Kensington SD4600P USB-C docking station. And it has power with it and HDMI display port, 3 USB 3 ports, a USB-C port, audio, microphone, and gigabit Ethernet. So you can see, you know, where you would plug everything in there. And that's how it looks when it's all plugged in. And if you wanted to, you could even mount it to the back of, you know, your display. So that's kind of nice.
There's a hashtag going around now called "It's a dongle life."
Yeah.
For all the dongles you may have to buy now.
So that's kind of where we're at. And then IO Gear makes a Thunderbolt 2 docking station. Theirs is $196.95, so it's a little more. And pretty soon, probably we'll start seeing the Thunderbolt 3 docking stations, since Apple has, you know, pushed us that direction. Thunderbolt is all backwards compatible, so that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Apple has individual cable adapters for between $20 and $50 each. So sometimes if you need several different connectors, you're better off buying a single big dock rather than a bunch of small dongles.
Mm-hmm. I also came across this thing, which is called Blocks, and it's for doing music. And if we go to this, well, it didn't quite do what I expected it was going to do. Here, let's go to the page. There we go. So that's what it looks like, and they're basically...
You got to move it to the other monitor.
Oh.
Turn on mirroring.
Yeah.
Command F1.
I thought it was on mirroring. It is mirroring. Maybe I need to change my arrangement. Huh?
Just close that and do Command F1.
Oh, there it is, mirror displays. All right. So there it is. And the basic idea is you have these lit up blocks, and you've got these other sound blocks, and you can link them together. And there's kind of a cool little film. I'm going to play that video for you. I'm not hearing anything. What's going on, Steve?
I don't know. What's your output device set to? Option click on the speaker icon.
Let me go to sound. Oh,
Just
this other one.
Close out of that and option click on the speaker icon.
I guess it's working. I just don't hear it. Can you turn it up there at all? I'm not hearing it.
Option click on the speaker icon in your menu bar.
I did.
cursor is not even in the menu bar. In the menu bar at the top of the screen. Two more right. One more right. Nope, three more left. Stop. Yeah. Option.
Small.
Option click.
Output device.
Headphone. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Let me start it over. All right.
Kind of neat.
It's kind of a clever little device, you know, so that anyone can play and interact with music. And let's see, where am I now?
Looks like you can chain them together and do multiple instruments.
Yeah. Now, they also make some other products. One is this keyboard type thing. And they make a 25 and a 49 key device. And it works with digital audio workstations, you know, especially things like Logic Pro and GarageBand. Here's a little video. I think it's interesting that all the piano keys are now black, but you can slide them.
Need more fingers. Yeah, basically.
The light box, I think, is $180 or so, and then the other additional blocks that you buy are about $80 a piece. But the original, for the blocks, it comes with 100+ sounds. And of course, you can do the things like strike, glide, slide, press, lift. You can also drum on it, so you can make your drumming noises there. You can make loops with it, make songs with your loops. There's also a learning mode that uses light trails to guide you where to play beats and melodies and things. You can choose scale mode, up to 15 different scales. You can also hide the notes that are not in tune with the scale. There's a chord mode, so when you press one place, it'll give you a chord just by pressing, one of their notes. There's an arpeggio mode that does the same kind of thing. And of course, it wirelessly connects to these other Rolly blocks that they have, which are other synth generators. And it's all wireless. And there's the prices I was talking about. The light pad, like I said, is about $180. The live block, which is a performance instrument synth, is $80. And then they've got a loop block there that does the loops that we talked about for $80. And the Rise keyboards that we were talking about, that 25, which is their entry-level model, is about $800. So not real cheap. And of course, it goes up from there. The Seaboard Rise 49 is $1,200. They've got a grand model for $2,000, a grand stage model for $3,000, and then this grand limited first edition for practically $9,000.
Easier to carry around than a piano.
Yeah, so you better be, making a lot of money as a musician before you go for the grand limited edition. And when I was looking at those types of musical things, I came across this other one. This is called the Artiphon. And the idea is that you can play it in different ways. You can strum it like it's a guitar, or bow it like it's a violin, tap it like it's a piano, or play it like it's a drum. And it works with your iPad. And you can see, these people are playing it in different methods, and they're all having fun doing it. It has a couple of accessories. The strap is like $20, and this case that it comes in is $50. This shows you all the controls. It's got a speaker. It's got an accelerometer built in. It's got a pressure-sensitive, velocity-sensitive key fingerboard there. It also has 6 digital strings and 12 optional frets, so kind of like a guitar would have. Rechargeable battery. It's got capo buttons. If you're a guitar player, you know what a capo is, right? You put it across the frets to get other, chord potentials and fingerings.
Thought a capo was a mobster.
Not in this case. It's got a bridge for strumming, picking, and tapping. Those are all things you would do with a guitar or a violin or something. You got your volume mode. It's MIDI over USB and Lightning connectors there. It's got a headphone mic jack and a power input there. And it comes with 4 built-in presets and 4 custom presets. And of course, if it's MIDI, it works what? With anything, right? Your computer, your iPad, whatever you like. And it's a lot cheaper than the others, about $400. There was one other thing I wanted to show you with that, and that was their website, because they had a nice little video with it. Let's go there. And scroll down a little, and here it is.
I've never seen this thing before. It kind of reminds me of a space shuttle.
It's beautiful. I think it feels, even though I don't hold instruments often, it feels really comfortable. It's so nice. Just
beautiful.
Oh, I like that. I can play it like a guitar.
Ooh.
I can play it like the keyboard that I use.
It's just a good way to like get a good feel of the instrument.
That's cool how you almost barely touch it and kind of you still get the sound, but then the harder you do it, it's got that attack, you know.
Not knowing much about musical equipment to be able to play it, just plugging it into my phone and using an app.
As a jazz musician, I would fall in love with this.
If I brought it to school,
This feels a lot, very similar to my ukulele as far as like the sensitivity too.
Yeah, that's wild.
There's not like a delay or anything, so it's great. Like when I'm playing.
Wow, so you can play 2 notes on the same string at the same time, which is virtually impossible with any other stringed instrument. Ah. I need to spend a little time with this in another room. There we go.
that's all I get to rock out of it.
When I was 8 years old, I learned to play the violin. And as a teenager, picked up the guitar. I ended up getting a PhD in sound studies, researching the ways that we listen to and make sound in our everyday lives. What I realized is everyone plays with music, and music is a fundamental human desire. What's missing is an instrument that can capture the full range of really just basic human gestures, whether it's tapping along with the drums, or strumming a guitar, or sliding along with the orchestra. And that's what we've been building. An instrument that can really translate your musical intention, your music, into sound. Our vision has been to build a musical experience that's simple and intuitive. And to do that, we had to start from the ground up. Now we've created an instrument that is smart enough to take any of those basic gestures and translate them into whatever music you want to make. This is a revolutionary idea. Traditionally, an instrument is played in one way. We've created an instrument that adapts to you, and you can play however you want. Any position, any style, any sound. For the past 4 years, we've been developing this technology and refining our prototypes in Nashville, Tennessee, and exploring this concept with musicians from around the world. The result is a beautiful, minimal, and ergonomic design that's so much fun to play. We're in a really exciting time for musical expression, and the possibilities are limitless. We believe everyone has a part, and we want to inspire you to play your music.
There you have it. All right, well, that's all I had for gifts and gadgets.
Alrighty.
So, Steve, I think
Yeah,
you've got a couple
I got a
things.
couple of minutes, yeah. Disconnect from the AirPlay. So I brought a couple of things that are becoming part of the smart home revolution. And I'm going to switch my input camera back to me. Yes. So one of them is the Ring doorbell. Ring has been around a little bit, and It's basically a doorbell with a camera built in and a microphone. So when someone comes to your door, you can see who it is before you answer the door. And what's neat is you can talk to them because it has a microphone and speaker built in. And it connects to the internet, so you don't even have to be home. And one of the cool things there is that burglars will often ring the doorbell to make sure no one's home before they go around back and break into the house. So you can answer the door even when you're not home. If it's a package delivery, you can say, you know, I'm putting the baby in the bath. You know, I'll be down in a minute. Just leave it on the porch. And a lot of really neat stuff on home security as well. And so we'll run a little video here.
But most of the time, you're not there to receive deliveries, see who comes by, or protect it from unwanted visitors. With the Ring Video Doorbell, you're always home. Ring streams HD video and audio over your home Wi-Fi to mobile devices. With Ring, you'll never miss a visitor.
Delivered from Mr. Phillips?
Great, just leave it by the door, thank you.
And Ring's customizable motion detection makes it easier than ever to keep an eye on your property.
Oh, I see you, Timmy Stevenson.
With Ring's cloud recording feature, you can instantly access, replay, and share your video events. When it comes to security, Ring lets you give the appearance of being home, even when you're not.
Hello?
I'm just in the neighborhood doing free house painting estimates.
I'm painting the children right now.
All right.
Most burglaries start with a ring of your doorbell to make sure you're not home. Alarm systems alert you after someone has entered your home, but you can build a ring of security around your entire property in just minutes. Start with a Ring Video Doorbell, then simply add a stick-up cam anywhere you want extra coverage. Stick-up cam installs with one easy click and operates off a built-in rechargeable battery.
Can I help you?
Ring helps families keep their homes secure and prevents break-ins.
They don't even have to ring the doorbell. You
During
see
the
them
day
on the motion detector.
and at night. The Ring Video Doorbell was designed to enhance your home's entry. With a wide variety of faceplate options, you can customize Ring to fit your home's personality. You don't need extra tools or professional help to mount Ring in minutes. Ring works on any home.
It
whether
comes
you
with
have
all the
available
tools
power
and
or
even a
not.
level.
And should someone steal your Ring, we'll even replace it for free. With convenience, 24/7 home monitoring, and the peace of mind of added security, Ring families are always home. Order your Ring Video Doorbell today at ring.com.
Yeah, Jackie has one at her house, and her husband had shoulder surgery, and she caught him outside mowing the lawn before he was supposed to be doing anything with his recently repaired shoulder. So she was able to yell at him through the doorbell when he walked by the front door. The standard Ring is $199, and that ties into your existing. No, that's not what I wanted. That ties into your existing doorbell wiring, so you can pull your existing doorbell off and tie into the wire. So then it doesn't need any extra power. It's powered by your current doorbell, and then it connects to your Wi-Fi network to get to the internet. There's a Ring Video Pro, which does 1080p high def video and has a battery built in. I'm sorry, nope, this is the one that uses your existing doorbell. The 199 model also has a battery that you have to recharge about once a year, they say. And then the stick-up camera is a camera and speaker that you can stick on around your house for added security. And they even have a solar panel for the stick-up cam, so you don't have to worry about charging the battery. And you can get a chime for inside your house. So if you happen not to have your iPhone, iPad, Android phone, and or computer, if you don't have a device near you, it will still ring an internal chime if you don't have an already wired doorbell. Or you can just get the $49 sign and say that you have a Ring, and the burglars will go to the next house that doesn't have a sign. And there's different kits depending on whether you need to go around corners or in a small area. The Ring Doorbell Pro is a bit thinner, So if you've got a very narrow door jamb, like on our house, the doorbell is up against a wall, so there's not much room to put a wider doorbell in. That's thinner for it as well. And Todd said he left some sheets up at the refreshment table to get $25 off on online purchase. And let's see, This Week in Tech, I think, had the free overnight shipping. It has a motion activated camera built in, so the bad guy doesn't even have to push the doorbell button. Just walking into the range will light up the video on your phone. If you want it to record video, then there's a what was it? I think it was like $30 a year cloud storage plan. Here we go, cloud recording. Very inexpensive, and it records to their cloud. You get 30 days free, or it's $30 a year for cloud storage. And a lot of the other home security monitoring systems are, hundreds of dollars a month. So this is a pretty good deal. Right. So some of the typical security cameras will overwrite the video within a day or two. With the Ring cloud storage, it stores it for 6 months. Yep. And they also have kits available. Where you can get several rings. They call it the Ring of Security. Where you can get, the everyday kit, you get the Ring doorbell, the indoor chime, the stick cam, and the solar protector. Excuse me. For $100 off. Or 2 extra cams for $150 off. So you can get a whole security kit under $1,000 and $30 a month for 6 months of recording time. They've got some statistics and customer testimonials about all the robberies they've stopped from people that will just skulking around your house or ring the bell to see if anyone's home. There have also been quite a few cases of package theft where I actually saw one where bad guy was following the UPS truck, and every time he stopped at a house to drop off a package, this car would pull in a minute later and pick up the package and put it back in the car. And apparently there were several people on the road that had a Ring. So you get one, all your neighbors like them too. And so they were able to follow this car down the street, stealing all the boxes that the delivery company was just leaving. So the unscrupulous drivers will say the package is delivered and keep it themselves. And so now you have camera footage of them walking with the package away. The other one is a wireless thermostat. This one's from Honeywell. Many people might be familiar with the Nest brand from Google, which is a wireless thermostat that connects to the internet. It learns your household habits and patterns, and so it will automatically turn on when it knows you're going to be getting up based on your patterns. You can turn on the heat when you're almost home, so that it warms the house up before you get home. If you forget to turn down the thermostat after you go to bed, you can control it with an app on your phone to turn down the thermostat as well. That's $179 from Honeywell. I think these are also available at like Home Depot and stuff. And so we're seeing a lot of these devices are getting very popular now for the smart connected home. The danger is that many of them are made really cheap and with no security in mind. There were a couple of cases, you may have heard last month, that some really big websites got kicked off the internet because a DNS hosting service went down. And so like New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and a bunch of these really big websites were attacked with what's called a denial of service. They were figuring about 1 million Internet of Things devices, cheap Chinese security cameras, were trying to go to this one website, say Time Magazine, time.com. 1 million people try to go to the website, no one can get to it because it's overwhelmed with traffic. And there are so many of these webcams that have no security, or they have a default password that no one changes, that the bad guys are able to use that as a botnet. And they've been able to do a terabit per second of attack and taking people off the internet. All right, we're just about out of time. And I see a couple of people tapping their watches. So Saturday at noon, every Saturday from 12 to 2 on Jazz 90.1 FM is the Sound Bites call-in radio show. You can call in with questions and answers. You call in questions, we give you the answers. So that's Saturday from 12 to 2. Also this coming Saturday at 3 o'clock at the JCC Tech Age Learning Center is our Saturday Q&A meeting. And also Saturday at 1 o'clock is the iWork study group at Bob's house. And doesn't have to be iWork. He talks pretty much about anything. And then they come down to the JCC after that. Next Wednesday night is the board meeting. You're all welcome to come. Find out how we run the club. We're looking for a vice president of programming. So if you like finding people for meetings or talking about things, come on down to the board meeting. Thank you all for coming. Next meeting is December 14th, and we're going to be talking about social streaming video, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, things like that. Thanks all for coming, and be careful of the wires as we pack everything up. We'll see you all next month.